A few acres of land is all that my great-grandfather and his small family owned. Growing soybeans with a handful of sheep was not nearly enough to sustain an enjoyable lifestyle. The difficulties of being a farmer and struggling to survive as northern Italy flourished encouraged the thought of immigrating. After the passing of my great-grandfather's only son, he decided it was in the best interest of his wife and daughter to make the move to America. Leaving behind the deeply planted Italian roots was no easy task for any of them. And despite being unable to bring along their sheep and furnishings, their Italian and Roman heritage traveled with them. It traveled with them in their suitcases, embodied in the embroidered dresses that my great-aunts wore. It clung to their accent and snuck into America through their cultural celebrations, such as Ferragosto and the Epiphany of Bordonaro. The rich history of my great-grandparents ingrained itself into their way of life, continuing even once established in America. It wasn't until my first year of junior high that my curiosity of my origins began to flourish. My history teacher assigned my class with the task of learning our ancestry and family history for a presentation. This had struck me. I had never pondered on the idea of my family's history and had been neglected that information until I brought it up to my mom. See, my dad left my mom for California once he learned of my existence, and I haven't heard of him since, which is why I believe my mother was always hesitant about discussing family history. After asking her, she continued to explain the reasoning behind my great-grandparents' immigration from Italy and their process of settling into America. She elaborated on the continuation of our Italian heritage and why our family is so close-knit. Always eating dinner together, constantly doing chores around the house, church every Sunday. Throughout junior high, I struggled with making friends. Nobody really talked to me, and I didn't really talk to anyone else. During third period, I did sit with a few other boys at lunch that rarely spoke. But Thomas Schuster, a small, dorky kid in my history class, did usually spark conversation with me. Eventually, to my surprise, he asked me to come to his house for dinner. He clarified that his mom was making meatloaf and collard greens. Luckily, Thomas's house was only a 15-minute walk from mine. However, these 15 minutes made a drastic difference in house sizes and neighborhood quality. When I arrived, the inside of Thomas's house was immaculate. Everything was modern, and all the furniture was in pristine condition. When I sat at the table, Mrs. Schuster served us our meatloaf. Then Mr. Schuster said grace, and I began devouring the meatloaf. Afterwards, I went to Thomas's room and I asked him where his grandparents were. I was shocked when he told me he rarely saw them. Thomas's family lacked the togetherness that I was so used to, as we also never left his room and just played video games. My curiosity about the Schuster family became increasingly evident that I was so sheltered within my own cultural experiences. On that walk home, I came to a realization. As I passed by the nicer, modern houses, illuminating the night with their expensive chandeliers beaming through the crystal clear windows, I started to ponder on the differences that the lives of those families and mine had consisted of. The fact that I need not look behind my back every so often, or worry that I might get caught in a gang mix-up, sparked an urge to escape my dark reality. But at the same time, was Thomas's family's individuality something I wanted as well? What about the friendly street vendors, or stopping by neighboring families every so often? As I meandered in the direction of home, I was puzzled. For my entire life, I had been misled to believe that differences prevent unity.